Thank you, Sean. Thank you for everyone at Icon Coaching.
Simon, congratulations, man. You know what that is?
That's winning.
It's winning, baby. I love it when you're winning. That's fantastic.
I got 2 under contract, so that's like 2.8 million in 2 weeks.
You've got to take control of your production to make sure that you're making more money, your bank account balance is rising, that your net worth is increasing, and that's what we want to see happen.
So that they can save the listing.
Which I'm really, really thankful for, Sean. Thank you.
See everyone coming on board. Welcome to Icon Coaching's webinar.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Icon webinar. Today, I'm going to introduce Adrienne LaBauve to you guys, as well as a couple of other people that are on Adrienne's team. We're going to talk through how to really ring it out, how to get as much out of your sphere of influence as you possibly can. And guys, let's face it, when you do your business correctly, most of your business should come from your sphere of influence. So we're going to talk through strategy, tactic, with ideas that you'll be able to implement and deploy like right now in your business. As soon as you're done with this webinar, we want you to have a handful of things that you can just get into action with right away to start gaining more traction to improve your production, your bank account balance, and your net worth. And that's what you want. That's what I want for you. So I'm going to introduce Adrienne LaBauve. Adrienne, tell us your story, how long you've been selling real estate. What do you love about it? What can't you stand about it? Tell us your story.
Thank you, Sean. I'm really happy to be here, and I think this is such a great topic, such an easy thing to execute. So I'm happy to be here. I've been in the business for 13 or 14 years in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I would probably say 95% of my business is referral based. Obviously, over the last 5 to 6 years, I say obviously because COVID, I've changed things, and I've always tried to focus a little bit on lead generation just to maybe fill the gaps, but I would say that the majority of my business comes from referrals. And I think it's because of some of the things that I've done and the relationships that I've created and the follow-up and the, making these people that I meet and then help with the biggest transaction of their life a part of my network and friends. And sometimes they feel like a part of my family. I'm helping them, I'm counseling them. And I think I'm really good at those things. So yeah.
Well, by the way, Adrienne, I'm so glad you said that it almost feels like family to you. And guys, it should. You should care that much about your clients, your past clients, your sphere of influence, that they're like family. Because if you can afford to put braces on your child's teeth, or you can afford to take them on a family vacation or enroll them in a private school, if you can afford that, you know who's responsible for that? Well, it's your clients. It's your sphere of influence. And so many times I hear agents, Adrienne, they say, oh, well, I have to go on this listing presentation, or I have to attend this closing this afternoon. It's like, oh, wow, go cry in your big bag of money. You don't have to do it. You get to do it. And it's just a subtle difference. It's just a mindset. It's an attitude. And attitudes, as we all know, are contagious. Do I want to catch yours? That's my question, right? And Adrienne, with you and your communication with your sphere of influence, 95% of your business comes through that sphere of influence because you do a great job of nurturing them. What's your favorite way to nurture the people in your sphere of influence?
Gosh, so many ways. I mean, I do love these events. I love inviting people to my home. I like having dinner with them, having drinks with them. It's interesting you say that about a listing appointment. One of the things I love about listing appointments is I love sitting in people's living rooms and learning about them and how I can help them, how I can help them problem solve. Like that's something that really like gives me energy. And so yeah, I mean sorry, I got distracted on the question. It was some of my favorite things.
Yeah, your favorite thing to do to just nurture that sphere of influence. Like, is there one thing you kind of look forward to, right?
I think it's just having meaningful, interactions with people.
Good. So you and I have been working diligently on a 36 touch campaign. So touching your people in your sphere of influence 3 times per month. Is there one modality over another that you like more, that you find more traction? Is it more text messaging, direct messages on social channels? Is it email campaigns? Is it personal phone calls? Where do you find the most traction?
So if I'm talking to an active client, so let's just use an example as a buyer. So I do like direct text messaging. So I make it a point to, when I have a search set up for an active buyer, I look at those searches every morning. If I haven't spoken to them, or I'm still trying to get that buyer to completely commit to me, then I'll send that, rather than saying like, hey, I'm just checking in, I'll send them something of value. So I think that's really important, that we need to be careful that we're doing, where we're not just saying, hey, this is Adrienne, I'm checking in with you. Those text messages are easy to ignore. But giving them something of value. So if there was a property that I showed them, I'm going to send them an insurance quote. We're dealing with a lot of insurance issues. I'm sure all of you around the country are, but sending them an insurance quote, sending them a property that maybe I can ask a question about. Hey, I saw this property come on the market. Is this something that looks attractive to you? Do you love these floors? Do you hate these floors? Just something to like start the conversation. If it's folks that I've worked with and that I have relationships with, I do a lot of events, even not around real estate. Like we're hosting a political some woman that's running for mayor, soon. And so I'll send those invites out to all of the people that I have relationships with over the years. And so I'm always just like, I'm trying to connect them with me as a real estate agent and me as a person.
Yes. Yes. And events is a great way to make that happen. Give us some examples of some of the events you've done successfully in the past.
So we have so many. So I'll start with the October event. So and honestly, Sean, this was, I thank you for encouraging me to do this event. We do a October, something around Halloween. Halloween's huge in New Orleans. Everyone loves to dress up, adults, everyone, we all get involved. So we do an event at a pumpkin patch every October. So Evan Robinson from CMG is here with me. He's my lender partner. He comes and host this event with me, and we partner with a church, so we're on a very main thoroughfare in New Orleans, and they allow me to put my sign up. I donate 100% of the purchases of pumpkins to the church, and it's just an event where we have donuts and we have coffee and we invite them out. And it shocked me the first time that people showed up. Like I thought, like, no one's going to show, we all have those anxieties where we're like, no one's going to show up. It's just going to be me and Evan and Emma. Emma Schlentz is on this call as well. She's my amazing partner in business. And, we all fear that it's just going to be us, but it was such an amazing event. People showed up. We were able to talk for 15 minutes. I bought them a pumpkin. Their kids ran around. We got pictures. It's beautiful. I do a Christmas event. I've done a movie theater. That is such a super easy event. Renting out a movie theater, inviting everyone to come, involve Toys for Tots or some local charity, so that it feels. One of the things I love about these events is it feels meaningful to me, because I do love to donate. I love to be involved in nonprofits. And so it's not about the transaction. It's about, giving back. So we meet at this movie theater. Everyone comes in, they give me their gifts. I buy them refreshments. They go into the movie theater. Again, we talk for a few minutes. They sit and watch a movie for 2.5 hours. We talk for a few minutes at the end, and everyone has such a great time. I usually have like between 30 and 40 people that show up to that.
Right. Because it's a corporate event, you just rent the entire theater. It's not like you're paying the $15 per ticket. You just rent the whole theater, and it generally costs $200-300. That's it, guys.
Right. And so these things don't have to be expensive. I think that's one thing that's really important to remember, is they don't have to be expensive. Involve your lender partners, involve the nonprofit. I mean, the nonprofit may be willing to contribute to some of the rental fee, maybe you don't want to, but there are ways to make these things really affordable. Using your home. I do New Orleans is such a great, we are packed with events. There's something going on all the time. So I play off of that as well. For St. Patrick's Day, there's a Irish parade that happens right down the street from my house. And so I have a crawfish boil every year, and I invite my friends and my family and all of my clients and my sphere. And it's just an open invitation. People stop by, they can come in my home. They can see where I live. I'm sharing these moments with them. And it truly is so meaningful. And I think again, I think people get nervous about doing that, but it creates lifelong relationships with these people. And that's what we want.
Undoubtedly. And Adrienne, I know that you took some time, you put together kind of a slide deck to keep you and I both on track so that we get all of the information that's stuck inside your head out during the webinar. So I'll give you permission to share your screen if you'd like to, and you can walk us through some of the finer points of building, nurturing, and earning the business of your sphere of influence. So SOI, guys, this is an acronym. We've all heard it before, SOI. I want you to change the way you look at that acronym. It used to stand for sphere of influence, so we get that. Yet I want you to change it to source of income. Source of income. Because the ratio should be 12-2, meaning for every 12 people that you have in your sphere of influence, guys, you should do 2 deals per year. We did all the research and the rewrite of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent to justify these numbers. So for every 12 people, when you communicate with them systematically, you're going to do 2 deals. One will be from somebody within the sphere of influence. The other deal will be a referral from somebody within your sphere of influence. Yet you must communicate with them systematically. Now, a system to me is a standardized process that produces a consistent and predictable result. So it's not, Adrienne, that you're doing this by happenstance. Oh, hey, there's an event next week. Let's just invite everybody, right? No, you're really doing this on purpose. You guys are planning the entire year out from the get-go so you can be reliant upon a plan instead of your knee-jerk reaction in the moment. So tell us a little bit about that process, that planning process, and whenever you're ready, feel free to share your screen. You can walk us through the finer points of your presentation.
Yeah, so we do the same events every year. I mean, sometimes we'll switch it up just a little bit. Last year we kind of deviated from the movie theater, and we did something at a brewery because I've grown my team and I needed to involve other people, and so we went with a new idea. And the planning process is really easy. I mean, it really is just sticking to the time of the year. You know, we do something in October, we do something around St. Patrick's Day. The planning is invites, social media, and then I don't make them super complicated. Like I try to do them in a way where I don't have to like have a bunch of refreshments that I need to bring. You know, the movie theater is very simple. I'm not bringing anything. I'm just showing up. St. Patrick's Day is probably the most involved. But honestly, I hire a bartender. I hire someone to boil crawfish, and I show up dressed in green. So it's, you know, it's pretty easy. So making it as easy as possible so it doesn't overwhelm you is really important. You don't want to be stressed out for these events. You want them to be fun, and that's what it's all about.
And we want to apply leverage to the events, no doubt. I mean, going to a movie theater, everything's set up. It's not like you have to show up an hour early, prepare anything. Refreshments are already there. Guys, it just makes sense. No doubt about it. All right. So let's go to your slide deck, because I know that there's some things in there that we want to go deeper on. And can you share your screen right now?
Yeah, Emma's actually going to take care of that for me.
All right. If we can give permission to Emma to share screen, that would be great. And Emma, are you able to do that?
Or she might not be able to. Oops.
Asking for a request.
All right, Dave, can you help her out? Just get that request approved.
Yes, I just approved it. Do you have it?
Fantastic. All right, we're off to the races.
Great.
And Sean, while we're waiting on that, Evan had a great event that he did in, Evan is actually in Portland, Oregon, and also licensed in New Orleans, but he did an event in Portland, and it was called Trash Bash. And Evan, you can jump in at any time, but it was, you guys, they had a dumpster, and they invited all their clients to bring all of the things they needed to shred to this event. And Evan, I'll let you elaborate.
Yeah, no, that was basically it. It was called Trash Bash. It was kind of like spring cleaning. So that was the time of the year that we timed it with. And we had it it was actually anybody could come. We're kind of like, we're in a central area of one of the neighborhoods that I do a lot of business in. And so we made sure to invite everybody that we knew and had worked with and past clients and things. But also it was just kind of like, I mean, we went around the city and put up flyers. And I think they're like, don't sleep on putting up paper flyers, old school. We asked people like, how'd you hear about it? And, you know, I would say like 75% of people were like, oh, I just saw the flyer. So again, it was like Adrienne was saying, very kind of a low bar. Like we just brought a dumpster into a parking lot basically, and like had a coffee cart, and the amount of people that were super grateful for us just providing something that they could just get rid of all their crap was great. And so people would hang out and have coffee and chat with us. We ended up with this big pile, like, you know, leave something, take something, or take something, leave something. And there was all kinds of weird stuff that people brought. Like somebody brought a giant bear head that, you know, you could put on. And so we did a bunch of like content just, you know, on the day, people wearing the bear mask and dancing and stuff. And so, you know, sort of a little block party, but very low bar, very inexpensive. We got to team up with a couple of other local businesses, which I think is great because then they blasted it out on their social media. And it was just a good way to provide a service, engage the community at a very low cost.
Yeah. Evan, I love the fact that you brought up the fact that you guys involved other business professionals within your market area. Guys, when you do that, I want you to view these other business professionals as promotion partners. They're going to help you create massive awareness around your event. Now, I love Evan's idea of a trash bash because, I mean, all you have to do is get one of those rollaway, you know, I don't know how many yard dumpster you got, but you can get a pretty large dumpster and it really isn't that expensive. And let
Yeah,
people
they're $300.
Yeah, $300.
So,
You let people just throw old couches and tables and chairs and all that stuff away, including their papers. You can have them shredded. Yet you're just becoming a resource for something somebody needs. It creates an opportunity to create a conversation. And that's the goal here, is to create conversations. Guys, when I boil this business down to make it as simple as possible, if an agent wants more appointments and they want more contracts and they want more money, all they have to do is make more conversations happen. That's it. Guys, and again, I hate to make it so simple. Yet even a salesperson without a ton of skills, they talk to enough people, gang, they're going to do more business. Now, these are people that know Adrienne. They like Adrienne. They trust Adrienne. And she's lodging herself inside their mind. When they think real estate, they think Adrienne. And she's opening the playbook and saying, here's how we're doing it. So walk us through your slides, Adrienne. Take it away.
yeah, Emma, if you don't mind going back to we're going to run through this really quickly because I think we all understand being in real estate that this business is so referral based. You know, again, referrals are a long game and it's about relationships. I am always trying to be my most authentic self. And like, it's not about, while SOI can stand for source of income, I want my clients to know that I'm not doing this because it's about money. It's about the fact that I do genuinely care about them. And I think these events help them understand that we're kind of catapulted into these relationships sometimes when we get buyers that are referred to us and all of a sudden we're running, you know, we're looking at houses, we're learning as much as we can about them, we're under contract and we're closing, and then like we know so much about them and then they're gone. And those are the things that really became important to me, or what I understood is that I wanted those relationships to last. And so these events help me do that. So again, from leads to relationships, shifting that mindset from the idea that you're chasing business to the goal of building community. So, you know, who's your sphere? I think obviously family, friends, past clients. Emma, if you'll just keep going, sorry.
Well, let's spend a little bit of time on that. Who is your sphere? And have you actually invested the time to build and cultivate your sphere of influence? There's 3 things I would recommend that you do. Number 1, I would encourage you to go through every contact record in your cell phone. Ask yourself, are they local to the market area? Would they take your phone call? If so, are they in your database? Are you communicating with them systematically? Second thing, go through all your friends and followers on social channels. Are they local to your market area? Are they in your database? Are you communicating with them systematically? Then finally, go through the yellow pages. Go to yellowpages.com. I'm not kidding you. Or just Google industry types in the United States today. There's over 2,000 different industry, 2,114 if I remember correctly. Go through each industry category and ask yourself, who do you know who does that for a living? Then ask yourself, are they in my database? Am I communicating with them systematically? Because when you build your database, your sphere of influence rather, to 200 people. 200. Do the math on that. 12 to 2 return. Guys, that's over 30 transactions a year. And I want you to grab a hold of that sense, that feeling of entitlement. Now, many of us, we don't like people who feel entitled. I get that. Yet when you communicate with them systematically, the natural byproduct is a 12 to 2 return. So I want you to get that sense knowing that if you communicate with them systematically, those deals, they're just going to show up. It's going to happen with blind faith. Just do what Adrienne's telling you to do. Okay. Build that sphere of influence, and then we'll start nurturing it. Back to you, Adrienne. Take it away.
And I hope you all heard what Sean said about going through, like, one of the things I tell new agents that come into my organization or my team is that just pick up your phone and start at A and go through your entire contacts list and tell those people what you're doing. I think so many new agents get scared to tell people what they're excited about. They should be telling all of the people in their contacts that they're a new agent and what they're doing, what they're excited about, how they can help them. So that's your sphere, and you really want to dig into that. Those are the people that are going to help you grow your business.
Adrienne, what would you say to that agent who suffers from call reluctance? Meaning, I don't want to call my sphere of influence because I don't want to bother them. What would you say to them?
Y'all, this is so, like, first of all, that bothering them comment, like, I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, if you could do me one favor and never say that again, like, you're never bothering me. I think this is this is so common. Everyone struggles with it. You know, somehow, some way, you have got to learn how to be confident about what you're doing and be able to tell people what you need. And what you need is their help, and people want to help you. So, you know, that's a tough one. I think all new agents struggle with that. But what I try to say over and over again to them is that the people that are your friends and the people that love you want to help you. And so reach out and ask for help. And that means saying, hey, I'm a new agent. This is what I'm trying to achieve this year. Can you help me achieve it?
And what's
like
wrong
if
with
that
that?
person
So many
asked you
people.
for help, you wouldn't say
Say it
no.
again, Evan.
I said if that person asked you for help that you love,
Exactly.
you would be so thrilled and ready to go. But you're
Yeah,
totally
so
right. Like, you kind of have to go through the pain, like, for better or worse, of building your confidence, and it's just not easy. It just takes time.
Well, let me see if I can help. If you're that agent who's sitting there saying, well, I don't want to call my people in my sphere of influence because I don't want to bother them, here's my input. Stop being so judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what you're doing. You're judging the situation before the situation's even occurred. You're prejudging that they're going to be bothered. Shouldn't it be up to them whether or not you're bothering them? Of course it should. Stop being so judgmental. Pick up the darn phone. Make the phone call happen. Guys, in the BOLD training program, we gave the participants a script. Many of you have taken BOLD. In fact, there's been darn near 700,000 graduates to the program. Now, in the first session, we gave them all a script. It was transcribed. It was typed out. It was part of their workbook. We had them practice the script for 5 minutes and then take out their cell phone and in a live environment, start calling the contacts in their cell phone using this very simple script. Then once they got a referral, they were instructed to come up to the front of the room, write their first name only on a whiteboard, put a little dash next to their name because we wanted to count how many referrals they could generate inside of 30 minutes of calling. And the script was so simple. It's called the referral competition script. Let me give it to you just real fast. This is one of those things you could implement and deploy right now. Okay. Evan, I'm going to role play with you. Okay.
Good.
Hey, Evan, it's Sean Kokoska with eXp Realty. Thank you so much for taking my call. Say, do you have 2 minutes to help me with a challenge?
Sure. Yeah. What's up, Sean?
Now, by the way, how many people do you think say no to that question?
None.
None. And yet what is MIC? We all have a MIC, right? Stands for my inner cynic. It's that internal dialogue, that internal voice that convinces you that this is probably a bad idea, right? It tells you it's not going to work. That's what the internal dialogue is saying to you. MIC wants you to stay comfortable. We get that. So let's push MIC aside just for a moment. Let's just use that very simple script. So do you have just 2 minutes to help me out with the challenge? Yeah, of course. Perfect. I'm taking a great class designed to increase my real estate production and help a lot more families. And we're having a friendly and fun competition where the instructor, see, I need to get at least 10 referrals. in the next month in order to win? And I'm just curious, who do you know right now who's thinking about buying a house, selling a house, or investing in real estate that I should call today? And guys, it's
Yeah,
a very simple
a
script.
couple friends who just got married, and yeah, they're looking to buy a house.
I love it, Evan. And you'll be
Absolutely.
shocked that you're going to get those types of responses. In fact, I'd have people, during the seminar, after the call session, they'd come up to me and say, Sean, my mother just gave me 3 referrals. My mother gave me 3 referrals. And then they say, why didn't my mom just call me and tell me that she had 3 friends that are thinking about selling their house? See, here's what I've learned. Even our own parents, the people who love us the most on the face of the planet, they are so tied up with their own lives, their own issues, their own problems. Rarely do they think about us. And a direct ask is appropriate from time to time. Now, you can't do that every week. You could probably do it twice a year, though, where you just direct ask for a referral. Now, Adrienne, I know you don't like that direct ask, yet you're more into relationship building. So what are you doing on purpose to make that happen?
What am I doing on purpose to make that happen? Give me a little bit more context to that question, Sean. Sorry.
So, like, for example, perhaps on purpose, you're calling 2 letters of the alphabet every week. Just as an example, if your last name begins with A or B, I'll call you this week, C or D the next week, E and F the next week, 26 letters in the alphabet, 52 weeks in the year. Guys, you do that, you'll reach out to everybody in your sphere of influence 4 times per year, once per quarter. So that's an example of doing something on purpose to nurture your sphere of influence. Most of you are doing it out of happenstance. Maybe you're driving down the road and you thought about the Jones family because they happen to live in the neighborhood that you just drove past, and you pick up the phone and you touch bases with them. See, that's not on purpose. You guys with me? I mean, sure, you're doing it. You're not doing it on purpose. Just like your social media interactions, you guys are doing it, but you're not doing it on purpose, right? So some of these things that you guys are doing on purpose. I know you and Emma meet consistently, constantly, and you're always talking about ways to add value to your sphere of influence. So, planning events, that's on purpose, right?
Yeah. I think it is time consuming to be on purpose. And I think that's why adopting a CRM and automations is so important with these 36 touch campaigns, because obviously I can't text the hundreds of people that I've worked with in the past every single day and tell them I saw a new house on their block and keep up with that. So I think it is important to incorporate some of these automations, newsletters, but I mean, I still do the old school things of, in the morning I go through and I reply to my clients' social media posts. I try to engage with people that way, because I think, after a while, whenever your SOI and your network is so big, it can be hard to be intentional. So I try to give myself grace on that. And I think we all should, but again, CRMs, automations are a great way to at least touch people 1 to 3 times a month.
There you go. I love it. That's fantastic. All right. So you said segment into buckets. I see point number 2. So help track quality and relationships and referral potential. So go deeper on that.
Yeah, this is actually something that I'm blanking on who, I think I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but making sure that your CRM everything is tagged correctly so that you're able to put these automations into play really quickly, because it can, and I would encourage all new agents to really jump into a CRM as soon as you can, because I did this 8 years into my business and it's been overwhelming. When you upload 5,000 contacts to a CRM, it can be, quite a task to go in and individually tag those people. So tagging them as buyers, sellers, and constantly making sure you're making those necessary updates so that you can send out automations quickly for these exact asks. If you're asking buyers a question, you can just tag all your buyers, send that email out. Sellers, if you have a buyer looking for a specific property and you want to say, hey, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in, Bayou St. John, a neighborhood here in New Orleans. Do you have anything? I want to be able to send that out to sellers as soon as I possibly can.
Fantastic. I love it. And then time blocking the time. Guys, you've heard it said before. If it's not in your schedule, It doesn't exist. So you time block the time, you educate those on the team that it's not appropriate to interrupt you during this time because you're going to be focused on sphere of influence. You want 5 conversations a day. Now, by creating 5 conversations a day, what does that do for your business, the number of referrals coming in and things like that? Talk to me.
I mean, it keeps them coming in. I mean, we have to stay top of mind. We have to make sure that people know what we're doing every day, without being, without you being the person that's constantly talking about real estate. You got to keep having these conversations in order for people to think of you as their real estate resource.
These 4 things are so like obviously very interrelated too, because I can't stress enough how vital it is to get a CRM going now before you have even like 3 years under your belt, because if you don't have a CRM for everybody to keep them organized, you have a CRM for each person, and that's impossible to manage, trying to be like, okay, for this guy, it's this, and that guy, and that. And so you will lose a lot of, you won't look as organized, you won't have as many systems, and it is a bear to do it down the road. So like getting it done first is huge.
No doubt. Also, having a great lender partner, critically important. Not only will they help offset some of the expenses associated with some of these customer appreciation events that you're doing by sponsoring, obviously they'll show up, they'll get to know your clients, they'll earn their business in the process, they'll do more business. But leveraging through a lender, guys, is so critically important. They'll help you double up on your follow-up efforts. The lenders that I worked with in the past, they had 3 specific, rules to be able to work with our organization. Number 1, they had to be willing to follow up with every buyer lead we gave them until they buy or die. Okay. And report to us on a weekly basis. That's number 2. And number 3, to use our scripts and edify us. And when your lender does those things with you and for you guys, your career will soar. If you have an average or below average lender, you're going to struggle. That's for sure. Yet, Evan, let me just ask you a direct question, just real quick. Sure. If an agent local to your market area said, hey, I've got all these buyer leads, I paid for them, I don't have enough time to follow up with them, would you mind calling all of these buyer leads and just give me a report on their disposition? Would you be open-minded to doing that?
No, for sure. I do that all the time. Yeah, in a heartbeat. I think.
So, yeah, and guys, you'd be shocked. I think every realtor, unless they're just, forgive the term, stupid, unless they're stupid, they'll be willing to do that with you and for you. You'll double your efforts around lead follow-up by leveraging through the right lender. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think of like a good lender partner, or if, vice versa, real estate partner, like you truly should feel like you're partners, and you can offset costs. You should feel like you're in the trenches together. Like that person should really help you to corral your clients into a space where you're kind of both being a resource for them truly. So like a lender partner that's a good lender partner is truly like a partner. So you got to find somebody that is willing to kind of go all the way with you, and because we're so and that's how a lender should be, because the real estate person usually is bringing in the majority of the referrals. So like your lender partner should be like, anything I can do to help you, like I'm right here with you. It's like, it's just a very important, useful relationship to have.
Yeah. So if your lender is not helping you, if your lender's not adding value, fire them. Go out and find somebody who will. Okay, like Evan. Evan will bend over backward for Adrienne and the entire team to earn their business, because when they do more business, guess what? Evan gets to do more business, and it's mutually beneficial. So find the right lender, lock arms with that lender, and together you guys will accomplish a heck of a lot more. That's for darn sure. All right. So back to you, Adrienne. You've got a couple of points up here on action steps. Walk us through it.
Yeah, so I'll start off action step number 1 to kind of play off of what we were just talking about. A suggestion would be to set up a call with your lender every Monday morning to hold each other accountable to that follow-up. Follow-up is so important. And I think we get so busy and we're running around that you can easily forget that someone gave you a client or you were supposed to call someone. So Monday mornings, you jump on a call with that lender, you hold each other accountable. Who's in our database? Who do we need to follow up with? Where are we with this person? Make it a 30-minute call, done. That's your time blocking. Updating your sphere list. I mean, obviously, using that CRM to do that, changing your tags. When it becomes You know, when someone becomes a past client, updating that so you can send past client invitations out, implementing a 36 touch plan. I mean, guys, ChatGPT is so, you know, AI has helped us so much with this. Like, ask it for a 36 touch plan and then add, you know, add things to it that feel authentic. Automating as much as you can, scheduling your next event or pop up, or pop by. Another one, if you're in the neighborhood and you're driving by your client's house, honk at their house and then send them a text message. Like, it's that easy, you know, it can be that easy. Follow up with your best referrers this week. You know, I make it a point to know who my clients are that are sending me business time and time again. Like, I will randomly send them flowers or a box of wine, or, you know, I know where these things are coming from. And I think, you know, keeping up with that is really important.
Undoubtedly. Way to go.
Thanking
Now, I
them.
do have an idea for you guys. It'll take a second to unpack. I would encourage you to Google or ChatGPT. What are the top hobbies in your local market area? What are the top hobbies? Like, I grew up in Denver, Colorado. Snow skiing, snowboarding, given, right? Golf, given. Gardening, given. What are the top hobbies in your area? And essentially, you could have a form that they would complete at closing, like an evaluation form, that also outlines not only their wedding anniversary date, their kids' birthdays, things like that. It also asks them what are their favorite hobbies. And you have the list of maybe 15 different hobbies, and they just check the boxes of those that apply to them. So if somebody selects gardening, well, once a month you go in and you do a quick search on Google for articles on gardening. And then anybody who has the tag gardening in your CRM is going to get an email from you saying, hey, I came across this article on gardening and I thought of you. I know you love gardening. And if there's anything I can do to help you, just pick up the phone and give me a call. And everybody who likes gardening gets a unique, customized article that matches what they like to do, right? If it's snow skiing, well, maybe one of the resorts has a big sale going on, an annual pass. Download the information, send it off to anybody who selected snow skiing as their hobby, and just say, hey, I came across this coupon. I thought of you. Guys, when they think you think of them, they think of you more often. You with me on this?
Did this for events too, followed that kind of philosophy of like, what do people like to do in Portland? And then we tailor our events, you know, to that stuff. So like we found that we were, or who are you finding that you're working with? Like, what little tribe, what field community of people? One of my partners here in Portland, we realized we were working with a lot of self-employed, like small business owners. So then we decided to do this thing called Kindred Market. We did a whole series. One of them that was like, I forget what it was called, maybe Kindred something. And we just had all the small business owners that we knew come to a place. We gave them food, we gave them wine. We had a photographer in the back to shoot headshots, and they all got to meet each other and talk to each other and share business with each other and with us. And it was just, it went a long way for reaching Portlander type folks that were people that we worked with that felt authentic to people that we like to work with. And it was an event as well. So like, you can definitely try to hone in on what makes sense in your city, the kind of people you like to work with that you find are easier to work with, and like build a whole, you know, follow-up / event strategy based on that.
That's fantastic, Evan. Way to go. All right, back to you, Adrienne. Take over.
So another thing I wanted to mention is, again, I do love working with nonprofits. New Orleans, we are packed with so many amazing nonprofits. And so I like to support those folks. And so every year I'll donate a portion of my commission to a new nonprofit. And that's created so many new relationships that I didn't have. Last year we did Turning Tables, which is they do mentorship, they're cultivating leadership amongst and really advocating for equity in the hospitality space. So we are so tourist driven. So that was something that I was really interested in and passionate about. But picking a new nonprofit every year, it opens up so many new relationships. You know, I mean, again, we're all busy and it's hard to create new relationships. And so this feels like this is a thing that makes me feel really good. I've always wanted to do an event where I bring all those nonprofits together with realtors so that realtors can meet all of these folks that are running these nonprofits so that they can know who's out there, all the great things that these nonprofits are doing, so that they have options, you know, throughout the years to pick who they'd like to donate to. So there's so many great ideas out there for events, and you know, steal them. Like that's what we all do. Like, and just do them, you know, and it's going to make a difference in your business.
Undoubtedly. Well, one of the ideas I wanted to bring to the table today, while we did socially driven events on our real estate team, things like movie theaters and bounce castles at parks, and you know, pumpkin contest, growing contests, and things like that. Which, by the way, that's one that you get a lot of mileage out of.
Yeah.
In fact, its timing is pretty darn good because we're supposed to plant pumpkin seeds at the beginning of May. Well, we're coming up on the beginning of May, and it's going to grow clear up to the end of October, right? So if you really wanted to get some mileage out of an idea, you could send to your sphere of influence pumpkin seeds and ask them to plant them, that you're going to have a pumpkin growing contest. Think about how many times they're going to think about you. They think about you as they plant the seed. Maybe they put it in water the night before and let it soak. They think of you as they fill up the little cup with water. They think of you as they put it into the soil. They think of you as it germinates and it sprouts. And every time they water it, they think of you. When it gets the flower on it, blooms, then they think of you again. And then all of a sudden the pumpkin starts growing. Guess what? They think of you. And all the while you're on social media posting pictures of your pumpkin. You're talking about the pumpkin growing contest constantly. And then on October 31st, you announce your winner. Guys, if you want to get a lot of mileage out of an idea, that would be one of them. I mean, you get May, June, July, August, September, October. You get 6 months of traction out of one simple pumpkin seed that costs pennies. Okay, so you might consider something like that. Yet at the same time, while doing all these socially driven events that have nothing to do with real estate, they are valuable, and yes, you should do them. It kind of drove me crazy a little bit because I'm a D-type behavior and I want to do things that are really in alignment with what I do for work, right? So in addition to the socially driven things, I would also do the real estate investor seminar. Now, the first couple that I did, I promoted all by myself. And yeah, I got a few hundred people to show up. And yes, I sold some investment properties as a direct result because I educated them on how to invest in real estate so that they could do it the right way rather than losing money in the market. Now, I was the talking head. It was a lot of work. I had to present for a couple of hours, and yeah, I got some business out of it. But then I got a lot smarter, okay? I reached out to 7 different industry leaders, 7 different categories of industry, and asked them to promote my real estate investment seminar. I also asked them to present at my real estate investment seminar. So I had 7 people, 10 minutes on stage each. I had a real estate attorney, financial planner, a property manager, a P&C insurance agent, 1031 tax deferred exchange specialist, a mortgage loan originator, and a CPA. I think that was all 7. I might have repeated one. Forgive me if I did. By the way, you can email me. I'll send you a white paper on this. It's a full system on how to do this. But I pulled these 7 people together. I gave them a ghost-written marketing campaign, email, social media posts, text messages, and scripts that they could use to call their sphere of influence. Asked them to promote to their respective databases to get them to show up to their real estate investment seminar. See, at the time I had about 10,000 people in my database, and I could invite 10,000 people, and I could come up with all the content, and I could give the presentation all by myself, ton of work. Or I could leverage these 7 other professionals, and rather than just inviting 10,000 people, I could invite 30,000 people by getting indirect access to their respective databases. Plus, I don't have to come up with all the content because the attorney's going to talk to them about how to house the assets in an LLC. The financial planner is going to show them how to take their 401k, turn it into a self-directed IRA, and invest their money into real estate. The mortgage originator is going to show them how to put their dormant equity to work for them. Right? People showing up that owned $1 million property free and clear, they went and leveraged it, pulled out $500,000 in cash, and went and bought a $1.5 million 20-unit apartment building. Right? You'd be shocked at how many people would invest in real estate if they knew they were doing it the correct way. I had people converting their $2 million 401k into a self-directed IRA and paying cash for a couple of fourplexes, right? See, when I did it that way, I tracked the progress. In 30 days, I placed 8 properties under contract with an average sales price of $832,000. Now, At the time, my average sales price in Denver, Colorado was just 130,000. So guys, I 5x'd my average sales price by just going after a different segment of the market and leveraging through others. See, because if your attorney invites them to attend a real estate investment seminar where you're one of the speakers, they show up because they trust their attorney. You guys with me on that? Well, guess what? They automatically trust you because they perceive that you're in business with that attorney. Now you MC the event. So you invite the speakers up onto stage. You say, okay, the first one you're going to hear from is our CPA. They're going to talk to you about how to depreciate the assets, take advantage of this tax strategy by owning income producing property. So you introduce them. They talk for 10 minutes. You get the audience to give them a round of applause. You invite the next person up on stage. So you don't have to like come up with all the content. You don't have to be a great presenter. Let them do the heavy lifting with you and for you. Have an evaluation at the end that says, that asks the qualifying questions. I want to be contacted by these vendor partners, the attorney, and they just check the box. I'm interested in investing in real estate the next 30 days, the next 90 days, the next 6 months, perhaps a year or more, right? It allows you to segment your list and follow up with those who have an immediate need. So listen to what Adrienne's doing though, because this on the social side, this is where the relationship is formed. And gang, this always has been, it is today, and it always will be a relationship-driven business. And Adrienne's one of the best I've ever seen at it. Right? 95% of her business being repeat and referral. Guys, would you rather have 1 referral or 100 internet leads? I don't know about you. I'd much rather have 1 solid referral where I'm already pre-sold, where I'm guaranteed a commission check. Give me 100 internet leads. They might be wishy-washy. It's going to take me a lot of time to sift through that dirt to find the veins of gold. I'd much rather have 1 solid referral. So build your business the way Adrienne's suggesting. Master your CRM. See, most realtors I know, they know how to use maybe 2 or 3% of their CRM's capabilities. Yet getting to know how to use your CRM, I think, is a basic fundamental of extraordinary growth within your business. I would encourage you, if you happen to be with EXP with us, and you have the KV Core program, I would encourage you to engage in a platform that a good friend of mine, who I also coach, his name is Shannon Pyatt. He wrote a program called KV Core Bootcamp. Guys, it is soup to nuts, everything you need to know about the KV Core platform, how to build landing pages, squeeze pages, how to segment your lists, how to build automations. All of that is inclusive in this training, and it's super cheap. So if you don't know how to use your CRM, I would do that first. Then I would focus on building my sphere of influence and adding every single person into the database. Then I'd focus on building out my automations and reminders so that I can touch them at least 3 times per month. And guys, do that and focus on that. Time block your time. 12 to 2 return. Guys, 12 to 2 return. I can't say it enough. 200 people in your sphere of influence, that's over 30 deals a year. How many of you guys like over 30 additional deals per year? Yes?
Absolutely.
Your average GCI is 10 grand. I mean, that's $300,000 in your bank account. And all you have to do is communicate with your database systematically. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? All right, Adrienne, back over to you. I just want you to impart wisdom upon these folks, impart the right mindset. What do you want to say to these guys to motivate and inspire them to get busy with their sphere of influence?
I mean, Sean, everything you said is spot on. I think it's just about being brave and bold and like being willing to do the hard work and ask for help and schedule these events and invite people. And it's as simple as that. And it's just consistent. Keep doing it. Don't do one event, do one every year, because people are going to look forward to it and they're going to invite their friends and they're going to share all the amazing things about you with all their friends. It seems so easy now for me. And I understand it may seem overwhelming for some of you, but just get started.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And many of them, Evan, they're fearful though, right? They're afraid to pick up the phone and make that call. What if that person gets annoyed with me? So let's kind of quantify that. Is that real? See, I want you to write this down, gang. Fear is not the same as danger. Fear is not the same as danger. When is the last time you heard of a realtor being beat up or shot or stabbed because they called a past client and asked for a referral? I hate to make it sound so silly and so ridiculous, but that's what it's going to take for some of you. You're not going to get beat up. You're not going to get shot. You're not going to get stabbed if you call your past clients and ask them for a referral.
Sean,
Don't procrastinate.
I also tell the agents around me all the time that when I feel like whenever I get that feeling of I may be annoying something, I remind myself how much value I bring to the table. Like they're lucky that I'm calling them. They're lucky that I'm texting them. They're lucky they've been connected with, I think I'm a great agent. So I remind myself whenever I start to get that feeling that they could have been connected with someone else. They could not have a realtor at all. They could not have the support that I'm willing to give them. So, those are the things that I remind myself of, and I think it's helpful.
So Adrienne, because you are the best agent for them, don't you owe it to them to make sure that they end up with you instead of some weak agent in a weak moment? You're doing a disservice to them if you're not calling them, right? You've got to care enough about them to make sure they end up with you as their realtor, because they could end up with somebody who's going to just do a terrible job. We can't let that happen, right? So, guys, just get busy, get into action. Okay, Emma, is there anything you want to impart upon these folks as it relates to being so supportive of Adrienne and coming up with communication campaigns and ways to get in touch with her sphere of influence and make sure that she's front of mind?
Organization. Really like hone in your CRM, like be as specific as possible. Like if someone has kids, put a note that they have kids and then send them something about an activity to do during summer break or whatever it is. Like be really specific so that you can form those buckets, look at your tags, figure out what people are doing or what they like, and then reach out with something about that topic, because that's really what makes it so personalized and makes it so that Adrienne or you as the agent are top of mind. Very important.
Fantastic. And that is so good, Emma. So good. And so an actionable strategy around that, you guys, would be to sit down with pen and paper and just come up with the tags that you want associated with your CRM. Don't do it on the fly, because otherwise you're going to end up with 500 different tags, and it's going to be a big jumbled up ball of yarn that is impossible to understand. Rather, I want you to do this on purpose. So what are the tags that you want to be able to tag people who enter your CRM with, right? For example, maybe you want to build revenue share at EXP. So you want a tag for a potential EXP candidate in your CRM. Maybe you like to call for sale by owners. So you'll have a FSBO tag, expired listings, door knocking, open houses, B2B networking, for rent by owners. Come up with your list of tags, and then just make sure that every single one of them is tagged appropriately. By the way, hobbies. Guys, I don't want that idea to slip through the cracks. If you can track their hobbies and send them one email a month saying, hey, I came across this article and I was thinking of you, you will position yourself, you will dominate that little space in their mind that they have for the name of a real estate agent. See, your job, my job, is to own 51% of that little space, that little sliver in their mind that they have allocated for the name of a realtor. When they think real estate, we want them to think you. So you must be on purpose. You guys, you must be on purpose to build, nurture, and cultivate. Now, building out the tags, critically important. See, the one thing, the only thing that you guys are going to have at the end of your career that's worth anything to anyone is going to be your database. I mean, that's the only thing that has value when you choose to retire. And yet the more information that you have on each of the prospects within your database, the more valuable it becomes. So if you do not have a closing evaluation form to where they can give you that personal information, I would encourage you to write that down as an action item. Create an evaluation form that you just simply give to the title company or attorney, and they're going to work it into the papers that the buyers and sellers are signing on your behalf. Okay. Think about the questions you want on that survey. What information do you want on every prospect in your CRM? And wouldn't it be nice to have their wedding anniversary date? You'll be shocked at what they'll write down, what they'll give you if it's on a form. Think about the last time you went to the doctor's office and that person behind the counter handed you the clipboard. Was there some personal questions on that clipboard? Of course there were. It's asking you about your personal health. It's asking you about your history. It's a lot of personal information goes on that form, and we're accustomed to it. So they'll give you their wedding anniversary date, their kids' birthdays, their dog's name, their dog's birthday. They'll give you all of that information. You entered in the CRM, work it into your touch campaign. By the way, if you're getting their wedding anniversary date, do yourself and them a favor and call the male in the relationship a couple of days before the anniversary, not to remind them that it's their anniversary, but just simply to say, oh, hey, buddy, I was just calling. I know that you and your wife have an anniversary coming up in a couple of days. I just want to be one of the first to call and wish you a happy anniversary. How many years has it been? Simple as that, right? So you're reminding him without reminding him. And if he had forgotten, I promise you, next time he thinks real estate, he's going to think you. Does this make sense?
Genius.
All right. So just remember, the more information that you guys have in that CRM, the more valuable it becomes. And I've helped people sell their real estate practices into the 7-figure numbers, you guys, to get access to that database. So building it, nurturing it, this is an asset that's going to be worth something to somebody in the very near future. Okay. So keep doing
I feel
it.
like if you have a huge data, if you're like overwhelmed by this, like you have a bunch of people, you can also hire part-time, like Upwork, stuff like that to help you organize your database and get over the mental hurdle of like, God, I have 500 people and I have not started this. So there are resources to help get that stuff started, or like like a niece or a nephew, or like somebody's kid, like pay them a certain amount per thing that they put in. Like there's ways to get over that mental hurdle, I think.
Yeah, we actually hired a VA for that whenever we use Follow Up Boss, and we hired a VA to go through and put in probably 5,000 people's birthdays. And we had to go through Facebook. Some of them got entered incorrectly, but it was okay because I got an email from them saying it's not my birthday. And then I was able to say, oh, I'm so sorry. Happy early birthday. I was the first one to wish you a happy birthday. But
Here you go.
another thing with these automations, guys, please make them personal. I know every year whenever the time changes, we get, 40 emails from these CRMs, and it always makes me laugh because we all know the time's changing. But for birthdays, like put something personal in there. Make sure you go into your CRM and when you send these things out, it's something personal, your area or your, it's not this just like a generic happy birthday. I think that's really important.
There's a lot of people asking about what CRM we use. We use Follow Up Boss. And I just say, like, the most important thing when you're looking for a CRM is to find one that you will use. Find one that is as simple as possible for you to use, that makes sense. You can do a lot of like 30-day trials. Try it out. If it seems very intuitive, you like it, you'll use it. Don't feel like you're forced to use something you don't like or don't want to use. It's worth the investment, worth the money.
They're all sort of a pain one way. Like there's no perfect one, that's for sure.
Well, that's true. And the best one for realtors is the one you know how to use. Simple as that. I don't care if you're using Top Producer or you're using Follow Up Boss or Sync or Chime or KV Core. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. What does matter is that you know how to use it. And if you know how to manipulate the data and you can work it to where nothing's slipping through the cracks, you guys, you're going to do a ton of business. And that's what we all want to see. Dave, thank you for posting to the chat. Our program that I'm so very proud of because it helps people double, triple, even quadruple their production in real estate sales. It's called Accelerated Breakthrough. Guys, if you want to accelerate your breakthrough to that next level of success, this is 16 weeks of coaching and training with assignments between sessions that are strategically designed to help you at least double your production and your level of income. And you get all 16 sessions, my buyer presentation, my listing presentation, scripts, dialogues, objection handlers, business planning methodology, you name it, you get it. And it's one-time payment of $347. Guys, if you're interested, go to iconcoaching.com, check it out. Also we have our results-driven coaching where you don't pay for coaching until you produce. And I love that program because it forces our coach to become your partner because they don't get paid until you get paid. It's results driven in a capped model. So if you're interested in that with no cost or obligation, I'll tell you what, just drop me a quick email, or better yet, Dave, would you mind just posting my scheduling link right to the chat for everybody? This would just give you direct access to my personal calendar. Carve out the time, 30 minutes. Let's spend it together. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about your business. And let's talk about some strategies and tactics that if you just made a few tweaks, a few changes, that will help you double your production in real estate sales. Guys, we are at the top of the hour, unfortunately. And Adrienne, Emma, guys, Evan, I could talk to you guys all day long because you know what you're doing. You're excited. You're passionate about what you're doing, and how you're cultivating your sphere of influence is nothing short of remarkable. So thank you for taking the time to add value to our agents. Guys, remember, they're in New Orleans, okay? Orleans Parish. So if you have a referral business and you want to guarantee that you get a referral check, send those deals to Adrienne and Emma. Evan, if Evan will work the buyers, get them approved for their mortgage. Let's make that happen. Let's send her a bunch of referral business. And guys, thanks for being here. We do this every single week, by the way. So until I see you on another webinar, guys, just be on purpose, be productive, be powerful. Adrienne, Emma, Evan, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for
having us.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care, everybody. We'll do it
Bye.
again next week. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.